Hello everyone, welcome back to Dark Souls 2.
Bearer of mercy, lest this...
Yeah, got it. Now, something about this game that's a little bit different from the first one is the soul memory system. In the first game, you sometimes wanted to hold on to your souls before spending them so that you did not enter a soul level range that made you more or less ineligible for certain areas' multiplayer contact. It's a bit different in this one because soul memory essentially cordons you off the minute you get those souls. If that makes any sense. I might make a post on it to sort of elucidate. Now, bright bugs are interesting because they were not on sale before, and only went on sale because in the interim I installed the DLC.
Take these, if you want them.
Now, NPCs have a mechanic wherein, usually if you spend a certain number of souls with them, if they are merchants and you talk to them afterwards, they will give you a gift. In Malentia's case, once you spend about 14,000 souls with her, she will give you the covetous Silver Serpent Ring +1, which increases the amount of souls you get from killing stuff. It's extremely handy. It's also really easy to get, so I recommend getting it as soon as you can. Speaking of things you can get as soon as you can, this little hidden area over by the entrance to Medulla can be accessed from the very beginning of the game if you don't just pass it over. The Morning Star is a lot like the Mace. It has a similar attack pattern and does strike damage, but it also has some bleeding attached to it. Not a lot, so in most cases it's inferior to the Mace, but let's go ahead and use it for a little bit. It looks cool. The binoculars are sort of a novelty item, honestly. You can achieve more or less the same effect by zooming in with a bow or crossbow, but if you really want to look at the sights in detail, just slotting in the binoculars doesn't take a lot of weight. They also look kind of goofy, so if you're into that sort of thing. You can see quite a bit from Medulla if you have the eyes and intention to look. You can also hold the binoculars with two hands and it does absolutely nothing. Alright, with that silliness out of the way, let's go back to our destination.
What is it? I don't know you, and you don't know me. Things are better that way. You are an odd one. Normally, people keep a safe distance when they see this mask. But you... I'm called Lucatil. From the land of Mira to the far east, across the mountains. They say Drang Lake brims with powerful souls. And so I came to claim my share. But what a strange place. Even the rumors did not prepare me. You are an odd one indeed. I've always made a point of avoiding people, while you've made a point of engaging me. I can see that you are mid-journey. If you require assistance, I will help you. I come from Mira, a land of knights. My sword is always ready. Don't hesitate to call upon me. Whatever happens, I won't be missed. You are an odd one. I can see. I can't. Don't.
Lucatiel of Mira is, I guess, a friendly NPC once you talk to her a little bit. In fact, she seems a little happy that we went out of our way to say hi. We might be able to call on her for help later. In the meantime, let's explore No Man's Wharf. To be honest, this is one of my favorite areas in the game for a reason that I honestly have a difficult time pinning down. The short bow functions a lot like the crossbow does. There are a couple of key differences, however. The most important difference is that the short bow will actually scale off of your stats, like, at all. Crossbows do not without some serious modification. Gross. No Man's Wharf is populated mostly by some more hollow infantrymen and those guys chucking weird little jars. The jars don't do a whole lot of damage, but they do have a secondary effect that can be very dangerous. These guys in the Horde helmets are Varangians. They're a pretty significant step up from the infantrymen and even the hollow soldiers in the Forest of Fallen Giants. They are not especially durable, but they're very aggressive and they can do a lot of damage in a hurry. They also have a little bit of poise, so you can't always knock them out of the attack that they're about to do. That just leads back to the entrance if we want to skip that little area. The way No Man's Wharf is laid out is sort of a meandering semicircle. Our ultimate goal is to essentially cross that debris over to the right. The Varangians with two swords in particular can do a lot of damage. Hello! That is the final kind of enemy lurking here, the Dark Dweller. Dark Dwellers do not like light. If you go ahead and light a torch from one of the braziers in this area, they will not appreciate that. It's sort of random how they will react. Usually, they will sort of put their hands in front of their faces and sort of scoot backwards. However, if you corner one, or you do enough damage to one while the torch is out, they will sort of go berserk, and will sort of disregard the torch that you're wielding. Basically, when you're dealing with Dark Dwellers, you don't want to push your luck. It looks like whatever is in those jars is oil. There's a secret here. Finding a very important ring. The Ring of Life Protection. The Ring of Life Protection is a powerful accessory that will protect you from dying. In the sense that if you die with it equipped, you will not go hollow and you will not lose souls, though you'll still be booted back to the last bonfire you were at. Now, the reason these guys are throwing oil at us is because the archers in this area are all using fire arrows. If we are covered in oil when we get hit by a fire arrow, well, you saw how much damage that did, so if you do get hit by oil, you might want to take a minute and run around to shake it off. Because it turns fire arrows from a nuisance into something that can pretty much kill you really quickly. This is the Undead Attack Dog. They are not very durable and they don't do a huge amount of damage, but they can cause bleeding and they are very quick and agile. If they come at you in large numbers, which they often will, they can easily overwhelm you. When sniping, it's worthwhile to note that you will do more damage if your arrow or bolt hits the enemy in the head. If they have a head. If they don't, you might be up a creek. There are more Dark Dwellers lurking around, so it's probably a good idea to take this torch with us. The spear, as usual, is a perfectly good weapon for this area. We can get the drop on these sleeping Varangians if we so desire. For our initiative, we were rewarded with a scimitar. Now, a scimitar is a curved sword. Curved swords are quick, and they are easy to chain together with combos. But they also require quite a bit of dexterity to use, so we're going to have to leave that for another time. Now, while the torch is out, you can see that the timer is sort of counting down. The timer is determined by how many torch items that we pick up over the course of the game. No getting through that way. A torch will remain lit as long as you do not swap out a weapon in that slot, or you two-hand the weapon in your other hand. If you go into an animation where the torch disappears, it will not go out. The game isn't that cruel. This lockstone contraption is extremely helpful, even though it doesn't necessarily unlock anything that would not already be accessible. By slotting in that lockstone, we basically turn on the nightlight in this area. This means we can conserve our torch, and the dark lurkers will have a pretty sizable disadvantage against us right out the gate. You can actually see them running away up there. Emit Force, not to be confused with Force, is a fairly powerful miracle projectile. We don't have nearly the faith to use it right now, but it can be quite devastating in the hands of a trained cleric. Now, Dark Dwellers are dangerous opponents. They have very long reach, their attacks do quite a bit of damage, and they can inflict a lot, and I mean a lot, of bleeding. When dealing with them, it's best to try and take them one at a time, from a distance if you can. The spear is good here because it won't outrange their long arms, but it will give you a bit more time to react when they wind up for a swing. There's more of them behind this doorway, so let's see if we can use that to our advantage. They look too big to get through. Oh! Okay, never mind. As you can see, that one hit filled up our bleeding bar by halfway. These guys are terrifying. Well, that seems like a good time for a break. Talk to you guys next time.